Have you left Canada after the submission of your extension application? If the answer is yes, then you should go back to Canada as soon as possible. Otherwise, your extension application can be refused. In this particular video, I am going to share with you the type of extension application, how you can submit your extension application, from where you can submit your extension application, and what are the things you need to keep in mind when you submit your extension application. So to understand everything related to this, watch this video till the end. Hello everyone, welcome back to this YouTube channel Global Exam Immigration. This is Jitendra Grover. In this video, we are discussing about your extension application inside Canada. I have already made detailed video related to PG work permit and SOWP extension. I will share the link in the description. You can watch that video as well. But here we are discussing about the extension applications only. And what kind of extension applications can be there? Study permit extension can be there. First of all, there are two different things: visa and permit. These are two different things. I have already made a video on this particular thing as well. Just to share it with you in short, visa is the visa stamp on your passport. It is not a guarantee to enter in Canada. Once you enter in Canada, you get a permit. Permit is something A4 type of sheet which you get while entering in Canada. And visa stamp on the other hand is visa stamp on your passport. So study visa is different, study permit is different. And when we talk about extension, it is all about permit extension, not about visa extension. Your permit can be extended, your visa cannot be extended. So whenever you will hear about the extension, the word extension, it will be with the word permit. Study permit extension, spouse open work permit extension, PG work permit extension, closed work permit extension. Closed work permit extension can happen in different scenario. You can change the employer or you can change the job, and in that case you can have the extension of your closed work permit as well. So closed work permit extension is one of the cases. Bridging open work permit, so this is an extension possibly of your open work permit, but now it is going to be a different work permit which is going to be based on your PR application. If you have submitted your PR application, in that case, after the submission of application, you can apply for bridging open work permit, which can be the extension of your previous work permit. So it happens after your PR application, or visitor record extension. So there can be different type of permit extensions possible in Canada. So as I have shared recently, permit extension means the extension of the permit, that A4 type sheet, that is your permit. Extension is going to be on this permit, not on this visa. If you want to extend this visa on your passport, you need to apply for a TRV, temporary resident visa. That is going to be the extension of your visa on the passport. So you need to apply for a TRV from inside Canada to extend the visa on the passport. But otherwise, when we talk about the extension of a permit, these type of permits can be extended in Canada. Now coming back to the question, can you leave Canada after the submission of your permit application, whether it is study permit extension, spouse open work permit extension, or any permit extension? If you submit your application from inside Canada, that is the requirement to submit your permit extension application. If you want to extend your permit, it must be there from inside Canada. If you are outside Canada, then your application becomes a normal application which will not be processed inside Canada, and it cannot be an extension application. To submit an extension application, you must be inside Canada at the time of your application, and you must stay inside Canada as well during the processing of your application. So this is a refusal letter where it is clearly mentioned that the application is refused, and what's the reason? As you are no longer in Canada. So it is clearly mentioned, as you are no longer in Canada, you are not a person described in who can apply to change condition or to extend your stay from within Canada. You are not inside Canada, and you are not eligible to apply or to get your extension from inside Canada. So because you are not eligible, your application is not processed. Why it happens? Because even though you do not declare now that you are outside Canada, you are inside Canada, Canada is able to trace your travel through CBSA. CBSA is the agency which traces your travel. If you are inside Canada, you are traveling outside Canada, they are keeping the record for you and they are sharing it with IRCC. And IRCC, who is processing your application, your extension application, they are able to get the access of your travel from CBSA, and they are tracing that you are already outside Canada. You should not get your permit extension approval. So your application is refused without processing. So your extension application is refused without processing because you are not inside Canada. That makes you ineligible to get your extension approval. So if you have traveled outside Canada, try to travel inside Canada as soon as possible. You might have submitted your extension application last month and now you may be outside Canada. Your application must be still in processing, but you can travel back before the final processing of your application. So if you have traveled outside Canada after the submission of your extension application, in that case, try to travel back to Canada as soon as possible. At the time of final processing of the application, you should be inside Canada, and it can give you a consideration that, okay, at the time of application, you were inside Canada, then you left Canada, and now you are back at the time of final processing of the application. So it can give you higher probability of getting a result in favor of you rather than getting unnecessary refusal. Apart from extension applications, there is one more application which we submit usually from inside Canada. That is your PG work permit application. Can you travel outside even after submission of PG work permit application? The answer is yes. PG work permit application is not an extension application. Condition for PG work permit application is quite different. For extension, the conditions are different. PG work permit conditions are different. Immigration forms are also different. So, if you have submitted a PG work permit application, then in that case, you can travel outside Canada even after the submission of application. It is not a problem at all. Also, you can apply for your PG work permit application from outside Canada as well. It is also permitted. So, it is not a problem at all if you are submitting PG work permit application inside Canada and then you have left Canada. It's not a problem at all. You can share your new address with IRCC through web form and it is perfectly fine. It will not impact your PG work permit application negatively. At max, if you are outside Canada, then you will get a PPR, passport request, and then you can get a visa stamp on your passport, and then you can travel back to Canada, and at the time of traveling back to Canada, you can get your PG work permit on the border. The way you got your study permit initially, same way you can get your PG work permit on border while entering in Canada. At max, that is going to happen. So leaving Canada after the submission of your PG work permit application will not make a negative impact on your PG work permit application. No need to worry about it. So even though PG work permit application is usually submitted from inside, but it is not an extension application, it is a different application. And even if you leave Canada after the submission of PG work permit application, still it's not a problem and you will get the approval the way you should get it. But on the other hand, if you leave Canada during the extension application, yes, you can leave, but try to go back to Canada as soon as possible. Otherwise, at the time of processing of your application, visa officer can check, okay, at the time of submission of the application, you were inside Canada, but later on you left Canada and you are still not back in Canada. And you deserve to get a refusal in that scenario because you are no longer eligible to get your extension application approved from inside Canada because you are not residing in Canada right now. Next related question is, can you enter in Canada if your PG work permit or extension application is under processing? The answer is yes. There can be two scenarios here. One, you are having a valid permit available. If you have a valid permit available, then on the same permit you can enter in Canada. For example, you applied for your PG work permit or you applied for your study permit extension. Let's take an example of study permit extension. So, if you applied for your study permit extension, your study permit is expiring May 2025. It is expiring in May 2025. But before the expiry of study permit, you applied for study permit extension and you applied for it in March 2025 and now it is under processing. Then you left Canada. There were holidays in April and you left Canada and you came to India and your application is under processing because here you applied for extension in March. In April, your application is under processing and you have left Canada and you are coming back to Canada again in April 2025. So it's not a problem. Your permit is still valid till May and on the same permit you are re-entering in Canada. So it is not a problem at all. So it's not a problem, not a concern because your permit, original permit, previous permit is still valid till May. And before that, you left Canada, you came back in Canada and you can enter in Canada on the same permit. Second possible condition is your permit is expired. Now it is a problem. For example, you left Canada in April, but you came back in Canada in June 2025. While entering in Canada, your previous application, this which you submitted, study permit extension application, you submitted it March 2025. You left Canada in April 2025. Your previous permit was valid till May 2025. Now you are coming back in Canada in June 2025. Now border officer will check whether your study permit extension application is approved or not. If it is approved, then you will get a permit on the border. So whenever you are entering in June, you will get the study permit and you will take this study permit and you will come out of airport and you can start your study. It is not a problem. But if your permit is not approved, study permit extension is not approved that time, then border officer will give you a different permit, visitor record. So you will get a visitor record that time and you will be able to enter in Canada from border. And after getting your visitor record, you cannot study, you cannot work part-time. So whatever the condition is there, as per this particular permit, as per that condition only, you need to stay in Canada. You can just stay inside Canada. You can't work part-time, you can't work full-time, you can just stay. You just have a valid status in Canada. That's it. You can't study because you applied for study permit extension. So you must be a student. And even if it is a break for you, even if it is a break of 4 months where you can work full-time, just because you have a visitor record, you cannot work full-time. So you need to be careful what kind of permit you are having in Canada. But on the other hand, this person who applied for study permit extension in March 2025 could be working even in June, July or whatever until study permit extension is not approved, would be carrying implied status. And implied status means whatever status was there earlier is going to be carried with you even after the expiry of my previous permit. So if you are not living Canada, in that case, it is going to give you many benefits. For example, one benefit is that you are going to carry the previous status, and if you are a student, you will stay as a student. It will not be converted into visitor record in any condition, even if you are living Canada. So if you are not living Canada after the submission of your extension application, you are going to get two major benefits. One is your status is going to stay. You will be on implied status, and whatever status you had previously, you are going to carry the same status. So that is one major benefit. Second, your application will not be refused. So you are eliminating both the risks, both the issues in the application. So after the submission of your extension application, do not leave Canada. Not recommended at all. In any scenario, you should not do it. Otherwise, it can become really complex scenario for you. If you are outside Canada, your application is refused. In that case, you need to submit a normal visitor visa application possibly. And then you need to travel to Canada back, and it can become a really messed up situation for you. If you get one refusal, then your permit might be expired. There can be n number of scenarios that can happen. So try to stay inside Canada unless you have long-term permit and long-term visa stamp. So if that is there, then you can travel inside, outside, that's not a problem. So if you have 2-3 years of permit left and visa stamp is also there, if both the things are there when you are inside Canada, then you can travel outside and you can travel inside as well. So traveling is not a problem in that scenario. But if any of these things are missing, and if you feel that I am going to get it from outside, suppose you just have the visa stamp for 2 years, but permit is not there, that can become a problem for you. If you have the permit for 2 years, but visa stamp is not there, then also it can become a problem for you. So both the things must be there, visa stamp on the passport, so to travel outside and inside, and to permit to enter in Canada. So that is a must. So always remember this, whenever you are inside Canada, have your valid permit and have your valid visa as well on the passport. So both the things are quite important. So in emergency, if you need to leave Canada in any scenario due to your family issues or anything, in that case, it can become a problem to come back to Canada and you can stuck outside. So be really careful in that. I have already made a detailed video on this particular topic as well. So must watch this particular video to understand what kind of issues can happen if you don't have a valid visa stamp on your passport. And it is also a related video, you must watch it as well. If you want to apply with me for any kind of visa applications, including Canada study visa with family, yes, we can apply for the entire family together. Canada PR or any other application, spouse open work permit, TRV extension, PGWP, or if you want to go with family to other countries as well, like Finland is there, New Zealand is there, and many other countries in Europe where you can travel with the entire family, we can take care of your case. So to apply with me, you can ping me on my WhatsApp number. Thank you so much for watching this video till then. See you in next video.